Hey everybody, it's Sean from Intercot.com, and I am with
Corey Rouse.
Yep.
A creative director for Walt Disney Imagineering.
Okay, and
I'm Greg Ashton, executive architect with Walt Disney Imagineering.
so you both are real-life Imagineers then?
Real life.
Wow, in the flesh, and two is better than one. Guys, it's great to be talking with you today. We just got to experience a shortened version of the Galactic Starcruiser, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about, what went into delivering this kind of experience. Kind of a one-of-a-kind thing that has never been done before, really, to my knowledge, where you're taking folks into outer space. What did it take to develop this kind of story? What were some of the challenges maybe that you had?
Well, in terms of like designing this ship,
Yes.
we needed to transport our guests, to a galaxy far, far away. But we originate our journey right here in Orlando, Hollywood Studios.
Right.
So that our first challenge was where do they arrive? And we depart from the terminal, and you probably noticed that terminal is a grounded, angular, concrete bunker. It's like it's another kind of Earth docking bay.
Right.
And then we board the transport, the launch pod, and that goes up and docks with the Halcyon. At that point, we're in the Star Wars galaxy and living our own adventure. And we shift gears radically from a design standpoint. So at that point, everything is integrated. It's a singular ship. You probably noticed all of the built-ins and integrated graphics, both on screen and wayfinding.
Yep.
And that was a unique challenge because that was a pretty singular deep dive story.
Yeah, absolutely. Corey, what were some of the things that you found particularly interesting or maybe even difficult about doing, developing this story and the actual hardware that became the Halcyon?
Yes, so I'll tell you, we'll go back in time a little bit to when we first started Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
And Greg, you were there, the core group that was talking about basically how do you bring Star Wars to life? What are the things that we really want to do? Because when we think about Star Wars, oftentimes as a fan like myself, we think about the movies, right? We think about the comic books. We think about all of the video games. But we also had in our past playing in the backyard. Right? Right? Yeah, we're how many times did you have a stick that was a lightsaber or the action figure, right?
So true.
Right? And so we really kind of started from a place of like, what if we built the best playset ever to get back to that?
Oh, that's a great analogy, honestly.
Right? And so right from the get-go, Scott Trowbridge and really kind of had this amazing vision of a place to stay and do that as well.
Right.
And that's really what we've built with Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser. It's a place to get back to playing Star Wars like we did in the backyard with some amazing technology, some amazing techniques with our characters, with our data pad. And it really is about not us having you ingest a story, we're asking you to invest in a story. So the whole story arc is actually yours.
Right. Yeah, I will say, having experienced it today, the one thing that was very difficult about doing such a shortened experience of what really is going to be, what is it, a 2-night excursion, was that every time I started getting invested in the story, it was like, cut, scene, moving on. Okay, now I know what it's like to be an actor, which is cool. But to your point, I think it's great to be able to be living inside these stories, and I could see where things would go. From a technological standpoint, what were some of the things that you're either most proud of or were the most challenging?
Well, you're building this amazing play set and scene.
Yep.
But all of the magic and the technology has to happen behind the scene because you are in it and you're living it. We didn't want to take anybody out of the story. So we had to conceal the lights. You've got to have the audio so well integrated. Yeah. And but at the same time, it's also this fantastic stage for the performers and our guests alike to step in. So integrating that technology and hiding it. So it was really the ship becomes just your location, your scene.
Yep.
That needed to come to the forefront.
Yeah, so the thing that I find interesting is, so you obviously had to develop, an overarching story for the voyage, but at the same time, you've got a lot of dynamic elements that are going on and things that, you have to almost anticipate for stuff that will happen along the way, or, ways that guests will interact with the performers that are on board. I mean, I can't imagine. How do you go about doing something like that? I mean, it's obviously some of it's scripted and some of it's some role play, right?
Right. And it. First of all, we started with what do you do on a cruise ship?
Right.
So what do you want to do on a cruise ship? Is you want to relax. So we had that as kind of a bucket of things we knew we wanted to do.
We didn't get to do that today. I'll tell you that.
Man. But I promise you it's there. I promise you. And once you bring something like a cruise ship model into Star Wars, now you've got a really fun Venn diagram of really that crossover of saying like, okay, well, how am I still in Star Wars when I'm just walking to my room?
Right.
And that's where you can start encountering things like, as you're walking to your room, Chewbacca's around the corner saying, come with me.
Yeah.
Right? So you have these smaller moments that go beyond what you would see in the movie.
Right.
Because in a movie, they walk off screen and we don't know where they go. Right? Here, you can follow them.
Right, so it's you're living in a VR real world.
Exactly
I mean, essentially, you're able to go off camera and into very unique places. Yeah,
they're integrated though.
Yeah,
the stuff that we saw on the screen, like we see TIE fighters flying around, and then we get boarded by the First Order.
Yeah,
right. That really is the integration of all the magic. But behind the scenes, it's also a collaboration between the design team, story team, food and beverage. I mean, you're hearing the music, you're tasting what Star Wars tastes like for the first time if you haven't been to Galaxy's Edge already. So it's an amazing, that's we're storytelling with all of those senses.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I will say one of the things I liked the most was, and it surprised me too, because when I originally saw the concept art for things, they almost looked too clean.
Sure.
Right, because you have this kind of image. I mean, I've grown up from Star Wars I was in elementary school and I first saw it in a single theater, one screen place, in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, to now, but it looked clean. And then the great part was today, the surprise for me was when we went down into engineering, it was like, yeah, baby, that's Star Wars. So I get the concept. Now we're on a refurbished luxury liner and, but still there is that element there. So that was one of my favorite things. What, maybe just a couple of your favorite things?
Well, I mean, you bring up the classic ships, right? The very first ship that we see, the Tantive V4. Flying in, and in some ways that was the kind of ground zero for us. We knew we wanted it to be familiar with that, so we actually incorporated a lot of those details. I'm sure you saw them. See the tech panels on the wall.
Yeah, absolutely.
You see the vector graphics, taking it back to 77.
Yeah, come on, you have to. You can't have everything look perfect. It just is not right.
But it's a balance. And we also, more recently, look, was blown away by seeing the Millennium Falcon when Lando owned it. White leather and citron yellow. That was an amazing, understanding. In some ways, getting to pull that kind of super cool, well-appointed interior, that kind of glamour. That was fun too, because frankly, it's more comfortable than living on a freighter or a military ship.
Right. Corey, what were some of your favorites?
Some of my favorite things, one of my favorite elements is actually the crew.
The crew, okay.
Because, again, as you are going through your experience, the crew is deeply steeped within this environment. They are the crew of the Halcyon.
Yeah.
We want you to feel that you have gone to a galaxy far, far away. This is not, say, a Disney resort that happens to have Star Wars. This is a Star Wars destination that happens to be run like Disney.
Yep.
So every time the server is asking you, would you like a drink? What they're really saying is, do you want to play Star Wars?
Yeah.
Right. And what they're asking you if you say yes to them, then
Yep.
they'll say, great,
Yep.
I'm with the Halcyon. Who would
Yep.
you like to be?
Yep.
And you get to reveal the Star Wars that, again, you played in the backyard with action figures and sticks.
Awesome, gentlemen. Thanks so much. I can see this just getting better and better as time rolls on. I can see the storylines develop. I can see it all happening. So, congratulations, job well done. Appreciate your time. Thank
Thanks
you.
so much for the time.
All right, bye now.